What's up, guys? Finally the video has arrived where we talk about 11.05 updated builds, what to do, what not to do, crafting, stats, talents, rotation, everything you want to know. Obviously a pure update from our Shaman guide in 11.02. Keep in mind I've already posted 2 builds that I consider advanced and easy, but since the update last week on all of the changes once again that got reverted, things got a little bit out of the way and a lot of people confused. Quite frankly, they keep asking the same questions. My DPS is lower before the nerf, yada yada yada, what to do on single target, why is my DPS now, worse than before. So I decided to make a compilation of the most frequently asked question and update you guys with the rotation included, so you will not be confused anymore. Anyway, let's begin. Alright, so first of all, about talents in the builds. Okay, now if you have already seen my previous videos, I've posted 2 different talent setups that I consider advanced and beginner. Those are still fine. Fantastic to play, keep them up, no problem. But what I have recently been experimenting with so far has been this build. Right, this build. Now, there are several variations of this build. One of them, for example, is playing without ecos and instead playing charge conduit, which is much easier to play. Quite frankly, for me, even seems better. But no ecos pretty much guarantees you no prior damage. Prior damage means like doing single target in AoE situations where, for example, there's like several important mobs where they have to die. This could be specifically useful on like high level keys where some of the tanks, for example, prefer to play a big trash with, let's say, a boss or mini boss, or let's say in every single dungeon there's like gonna be one important mob to die, so playing ecos in that regard can help you a lot, saving a tons of time. If you don't like ecos, or if you find ecos too hard to play, you can always play instead charge conduit, which is the talent to the left. Now, a lot of people also dislike playing LMT because it's an extra button. You can remove LMT and you can play both those talents, which should seem the best. This build probably should seem the best out of anything else. Obviously playing with the Fury of the Storms on top of it. Okay. But being honest with you, I think a lot of people will find this build also confusing because you don't have a reliable source of spreading flame shock to trigger your primordial wave, right? So now the question comes, how do you get flame shocks up if you don't have P-wave? Well, either Ascendance or DRE procs. That is the only way. Other than that, you're kind of hoping to get yourself, a crump of procs to get your haste from the splintered elements. Or if you don't like this gameplay, then obviously don't play it, right? But Primordial Wave triggers Elemental Equilibrium. Anyway, to the important part. Why this build? Why? What has changed? Well, pretty much our sustained damage got lower and lower because of the further nerfs of Stormbringer. As you guys can already see, we're only gonna get 1 arc discharge instead of the 2 last week, so usually that helped us with our damage off cooldowns. Now that has been nerfed, we needed another build to make sure that we get more damage while having no cooldowns, which again I have been experimenting for probably 7 different builds, and so far this seemed to be the better choice across multiple keys that I've played. Again, all of this is tested on 13, 14, 15, and 16 keys. I haven't tried anything below 12. Perhaps this build might not be the best for 12. Or below 12, Sorry, I lied to you. I tried it on 11 and 12 too. And I still did amazing. I did like 3.5 million overall damage in Necrotic Wake. With a very good single target too. One last thing before I let you go. It's Fury of the Storms against Herald. For me, Fury of the Storm seems better. But because I don't play Elemental Unity, I don't get the benefit from having extra Elemental up. I decided to try an experiment with Herald of the Storms, which in some cases turns out better, especially when there's like a back-to-back big pulls and the packs die too quick. But Fury of the Storms also does very good consistent damage, and it's also a passive. You don't have to think about, oh, I need to use some CDR here to get my Stormkeeper, etc. So yeah, keep that in mind. I don't know if I should trust the sim 100%, but the sim tells me that Fury seems better than Herald, and also Charge Conduit seems better than Ecos, which is kind of strange, but yeah, that's pretty much it. Anyway, that's about the build and the talent choice, why I've chosen this. Again, if you want to give it a try, I'm leaving this completely up to you. Final remarks: if you don't like echoes, play Charge Conduit. If you don't like LMT, play echoes. You can turn any of those talents the way you like it. If you don't like Elemental Equilibrium, you can play Eye of the Storm. Keep in mind that's going to be a DPS loss, but much easier to play. Okay. I've seen some variations of not playing even Echo of the Elements in Mastered Elements and instead playing Everlasting Elements, which is kind of suck, but yeah. It is what it is, right? Alright, so let's get down to, after the build, let's get down to the secondary stats. Another very hot topic. People often tell me, but what is my secondary stats? Are they gonna change? So, if I gotta be completely honest with you, at least for my sims, it still shows me that Mastery is amazing choice. So if you still have a Mastery gear, don't panic, it's still gonna be a good choice. Hence why as you can see, I'm quite heavily in Mastery. However, I've taken the liberal choice of getting more critical strike than usual. Currently, I'm sitting at around 20%. My plan is to get to around 25 probably, up it a little bit more, while keeping my haste pretty much unchanged. Why is my haste unchanged? Because I'm playing currently P-Wave, which has Splintered Elements, which gives me haste on demand. Pretty much every single pack, I'm bound to have at least like between 10 and I guess 10 and 20-ish%, depending on how many flame shocks I have, right? So it could be even more than 20. Again, depends. Hence why I've decided to drop my critical, my haste below 20%. Likely gonna drop it to like 17 if I have the choice. Currently I don't, and get more critical strike. But secondary stats remain the same, pretty much give or take, except that crit has much higher prio than before, especially if you play equals build. Keep in mind that. When it comes down to crafting, again, there's a lot of different variations of what you want to craft, but currently I've crafted myself the Ascendance Embellishment, and I've also crafted the double amp on Ascendance Embellishment, which pretty much doubles the effect of my Ascendance. Now, if you do play lower level keys, perhaps Vivacity could be a better choice here for you instead of Ascendance, and instead of because Vivacity cannot be double dipped by this embellishment, you should be playing probably a crit amp, which pretty much increases your critical strike once you're above 80% health. Now, to the important part, it was gonna be trinkets. Once again, trinket combos remain the same. I haven't changed them since level 02. For me, those two combos seem the best: Arakara Trinket and Spymaster Sweep. One small remark: a lot of questions. When do I use my Spymasters? My personal recommendation: always use Spymasters with Ascendance together. I never separate them. The same thing as Star Melee. I never separate Star Melee from Ascendance and my Spymasters. Obviously, there's some exception to this rule. If the pack is about to, if the dungeon is about to end, if the boss is about to die, and timer is gone, then obviously use as you wish. But that's my general term of rule. Make sure to always have Spymasters stacks for your Ascendance. Okay. Now that we're done with talents, builds, itemization, and stats and trinkets, I think the rotation is like the next logical step here, because that's gonna be probably why you're here in this video, right? And before I just begin, I would like to mention this Farseer. It's still behind Stormbringer, but after the most recent buffs to Farseer, they are now closer than before to Stormbringer. But obviously, Stormbringer is still the preferred choice pretty much in every single content, right? Anyway, so about AoE, how has the rotation changed for AoE? Honestly, it hasn't. The rotation has not changed for AoE. The only difference that I do right now is I don't track anymore EE as a weak aura because I'm playing Primordial Wave, which automatically triggers my Elemental Equilibrium. If you guys still don't believe me, look at my buffs right now. As soon as I cast P-Wave, I'm gonna get EE proc, or I guess triggered. That's why I decided not to track it anymore. I don't care about it. As long as I'm playing a Primordial Wave, for me, it's no problem. Now, I usually cast Primordial Wave, and then I cast everything else, like Pistar Keeper, Pre-LA, then I P-Wave, all cooldown, Ascendance, and then I trigger my Primordial Wave from the Lava Surge that I get after you cast it. And I get my haste, to my rotation. Again, the rotation is as per usual, Earth Shock, Earthquake, nothing has changed there. If you guys are not familiar, I'm going to show you a quick sample. You can look at bottom right of my corner if you want to see it, but I'm pretty sure all of you already know it. But yeah, 3 Ascendance, and then all cooldowns, trigger the haste, and then you just game. That's it. Now, there's a lot of different things that, for example, people don't understand yet. And one of the main things, in my opinion, is that a lot of people seem to be confused whether or not they should be casting in AoE Ice Fury. My personal recommendation: never ever cast Ice Fury in AoE. Obviously, I know that a lot of you perhaps are getting baited by whoever, but do not ever cast that in AoE, right? As soon as you get your P wave back, you want to cast it, especially if you have, for example, multiple flame strokes available from your ascendance procs. If you don't have ascendance proc, the best bet here would be for you to cast your LMT again to get flame strokes up and cast P wave. But most of the time, the key levels that most people play are not going to be high enough for the pack to live longer to cast second P wave. You know? But as you can see right now, I do not get my ascendance back. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to cast LMT, get my flame strokes, get my P wave out, and then I just might do my normal rotation, right? That's it. I can continue forever, but that's pretty much my overall here. One small note. A lot of people ask me whether or not I should be swapping targets with Earthshock and Tempest to apply Lightning Rod. The short answer here could be yes, it is going to be higher DPS increase if you do swap targets in Earthshock, different targets, and Tempest, different targets that don't have Lightning Rod. The problem here becomes when you have, for example, a prior target, let's say mini boss, important caster to die, boss itself, it becomes a lot more relevant for you to lose some damage and then focus on para damage. For example, only using Earthshock and Tempest on a target that has to die, then swapping targets. Obviously, you still lose some damage, but at the end of the day, you play Mythic Plus to time the keys, not to pad. That would be considered padding if you don't kill the para target quicker. Otherwise, your party might die. That's why you saw me on a dummy with not swapping targets. Usually, if I don't have a para target, I most definitely do swap targets that do not have Lightning Rod, so I can apply it and do more overall damage. That's about AoE. Again, nothing really has changed here, except that you want to maintain P wave on cooldown if the pack lives long enough, and if you don't have flame strokes available to the whole to all targets, LMT instead. Single target, absolutely no changes. They remain the same. You still want to be playing and alternating between Lava Burst and Lightning Bolt and trying to empower as many Earthshocks and Earthquakes as you can. Obviously, just like single target, if you do get Aftershocks back-to-back procs, use them. You don't care about SOP anymore because you don't have it, okay? Now, I do use Ice Fury on cooldown on single target, especially during Ascendance. I still use it because I do get the benefit from Fusion of Elements. If you guys don't have a Fusion of Elements weak aura, I recommend you to get one. Otherwise, you will never see how you can get your procs to work, right? So I'm gonna show you right now. I'm gonna try to proc my Ice Fury, and I'll show you what you have to have for you to see. Okay, so as you can see, Ice Fury right now. As soon as I cast it, here's my weak aura. I have to cast a fire spell and lightning spell to trigger it. One lightning spell. Now I only need fire spell. As soon as I cast fire spell, you get Elemental Blast on a target, which again not only does damage to the target, but it also gives you a, as you can see, a critical strike, haste, or a mastery. Depends on your proc. Hence why it's very important to proc it on 1-2 targets to maintain the buff all the time and do more damage. That's pretty much for single target. Again, if you can check out my previous videos. I have 2 videos specifically designed for single target. So I'm not going to repeat myself 10,000 times, and I want to make this video short. So that's pretty much it. On 2 targets, I keep the same rotation. On a single target, except that I use Chain Lightning instead of Lightning Bolt. I still like to the Lightning Bolt during Stormkeeper, but and everything else is just Chain Lightning. Obviously, you Lightning Bolt when you have Tempest to get your proc, and then use the Chain Lightning from Tempest. Right, as soon as you cast Tempest, you get your free proc. Use that proc for Chain Lightning. I don't maintain double Flame Shock on 2 targets unless obviously I have to trigger my Fusion of the Elements with a fire spell on 2 targets. But to show you what I mean, I'm gonna show you like a quick sample rotation on 2 targets so you can see where I'm coming from, and then you can be the judge and see how I play. Obviously, I still want to Earthquake on 2 targets, just like 1 target, for example. For me, that is way more important. But yeah, there you go. My 2 targets, real quick, and then again. I try to empower my Echoes of the Great Sundering on 2 targets if I can with Master of the Elements, but that's pretty much, you know. Anyway, just can go on and on forever, but yeah. There you go. I need a fire spell to trigger my elemental blast. I can just put LMT. Boom. Fire spell is triggered. Right. But anyway, I don't want to bore you to death. One small question that I should answer is, do I echoes of the Great Sundering on a single target, aka do I earthquake on a single target? The answer is yes. You do earthquake on a single target. If the boss stays stationary, you do it. If the boss moves away, it's very bad. Perhaps consider a different way, maybe earthshock more than earthquake, because obviously if you earthquake and the boss moves away, you lose damage. That's pretty much the TLDR. Again, if I have missed any of the questions or any important thing, you guys can let me know. I will repeat it, and you can always come on Twitch, say hi, ask me the questions, and I got you. My Discord is also available if you guys prefer all that communication. And once again, if you're interested into coaching, check out our Patreon. That's where we do the coaching. Peace out. I hope I was helpful. If I find anything else useful, I'll let you guys know. Bye for now.